So I want to take you through what I think is a very useful framework to think about why energizers can be so enabling and empowering to individuals and teams. So we can begin by focusing on the really center area of this onion, of this energy onion. The middle zone is the comfort zone, the zone where we spend a good chunk of time at work and at school, right? It's perfectly fine to be in the comfort zone. I don't want to make you feel guilty. I've been there for long periods of time, that's for sure. It's the zone where we're kind of just chilling, right? We may be absorbing some of the information that's going on in our environment, whether it's a meeting or a class or some kind of workshop, whatever it may be. But we're a bit passive, right? We're not fully involved. We're not leaning in, right? We're maybe in the background, right? Just kind of being relatively present, but not fully embodied in the circumstance. It's okay to be there once in a while because sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we might not have had the best sleep the night before, right? And so we all know the comfort zone. Then we've got that second layer of the onion, which is the learning zone. This is the zone where we are much more immersed in what's going on, right? We feel that we're actually taking some kind of risk. That risk leads to growth, right? We're interacting more with our environment, with the people in the environment, right? We're having conversations. We're asking lots of questions. We're pushing back. We're reflecting on what's going on and then externalizing that reflection, right? It's the place where we generally should be. And then we've got that anxiety zone, the outer layer of the energy onion. And that's the area that, again, we've all been in. Doesn't feel really good. It feels like we're trying to kind of survive at the very end of the deep side of the pool, right? It's asking maybe just a little too much from our competence or our skill levels. Maybe things are running too fast, right? We can feel it in our bodies. We're breathing harder. Our heart is pumping more intensely, right? We might start to panic. We might start to feel way too anxious about the circumstance, right? We might start to get self-conscious. What am I doing here, right? The imposter syndrome might start to kick in. We've all been in the anxiety zone, a place that's been asking too much of us. I don't want you spending too much time in the anxiety zone. Where I want you to be is in the magic zone. And that's where energizers really do their thing, especially if they're implemented by a skillful facilitator. And this is what this course plans to do, to turn you into a highly tactful, skillful, powerful user and spreader of energizers. What an energizer does, if it's implemented well, that's the key. It keeps people on the edge of the learning zone and the anxiety zone. You're not going to use these all the time, and so you're just going to push people slightly into what I call crazy town, into that place where people feel like they're barely getting through, but they're being sheltered and hand-held just a little bit by the facilitator through the energizer. They also recognize that they're not the only one dipping into the anxiety zone, right? Everyone's kind of in that slight anxiety zone mode, so it doesn't feel as horrible if it was only you, right? But you can see that this magic zone, that orange circle, doesn't go straight and all the way into the far-flung areas of the anxiety zone. It's just barely in between the learning and the anxiety zone. And that's the magic of energizers. When you feel people going into the comfort zone, right? Retreating back into their shell, you can tactfully use a short energizer to bring them back out of the comfort zone into the learning zone, and in just a little bit to tip in a little bit of a toe to feel the water of the anxiety zone, and then you bring them slowly back to the learning zone. And then once again, you're going to notice that people go back to the comfort zone for all kinds of reasons. It might be late, it might be dark, it might be rainy like it usually is in the city I live in. And so that's another opportunity to bring them back into that magic zone, that border town. I'm from a border town. And so I've learned to benefit from being a bit on the edge. And that's what a powerful, tactful Energizer facilitator ninja can do for his or her team.